Hey everyone, hope everything's going great. Welcome to my channel Yarnoculus, and today we're gonna make the alphabets T and E, which constitute the part 3 of my alphabet Afghan series. I explained the basics of this Afghan and the details of the yarn, the hook and all that in part 1, so do check it out if you haven't, or if you just want a quick refresher of the patterns for alphabets A, B and C, do check out both the part 1 and part 2. Before we jump into today's pattern, I wanted you to know that I appreciate each one of you and thanks a zillion for joining me on this beautiful journey. If you are new to my channel, please consider subscribing to Yarnoculus so you don't miss any of these beautiful patterns which are published every week. So let's nail down alphabets D and E today. For the alphabet D, let's start with the slip knot and 14 chain stitches as usual. After the foundation row of 14 chain stitches for row number 2, we're gonna skip the first stitch from the hook and do a single crochet in every stitch for row number 2. After row number 2, row number 3 and 4 as well are gonna be a row of single crochets. So go ahead and do row number 2, 3 and 4, and I'll meet you when we are due to do row number 5. Okay, so far we've done row number 1, which was a foundation row of 14 chain stitches, row number 2, 3 and 4, which were a row of single crochets in every stitch. So for rows number 2, 3 and 4, you should have got 13 single crochets each. Now for row number 5, chain 1 and turn your work. On row number 5, we're gonna start with 2 single crochets, that's 1 and 2. And the third stitch is gonna be a bobble stitch. So for this pattern, we're gonna do a bobble stitch by doing 5 double crochets, or rather 5 half double crochets in the same stitch. 3, 4 and 5, and then yarn over and pull through all the 6 loops that you have on the hook. That's how you get a bobble stitch. The next stitch would be a single crochet, and then we need to do 2 more pairs of bobble stitch and single crochet on this row. So let's do a bobble stitch next. A single crochet in the next stitch and another pair of bobble stitch and single crochet. Do the single crochet, and after this you would be left with 5 single crochets on this row. So end this row with 5 single crochets. That was row number 5. For row number 6, since it's an even row, it's just gonna be a row of single crochets all across. At the end of row number 6, you're gonna get 13 single crochets. Alright, that was row number 6. For row number 7, chain 1, turn your work, and for row number 7, we're gonna start with 4 single crochets. 1, 2, 3, and 4. After 4 single crochets, you're gonna do a bobble stitch. The bobble stitch is gonna be followed by 3 single crochets. Then again a bobble stitch. And end row number 7 with 4 single crochets. Chain 1, turn your work and do a row of single crochets for your row number 8. For row number 9, chain 1, turn your work. On row number 9 again we're gonna start with 4 single crochets. Followed by a bobble stitch. Followed by 4 single crochets. And then do a bobble stitch. And to end this row, you're gonna do 3 single crochets. Row number 10, as usual, is gonna be a row of single crochets in every stitch. After row number 10, you're gonna repeat rows 9 and 10 5 more times, which means you're gonna reach till row number 20. So in short, row numbers 9, 11, 13, 15, 17 and 19 are gonna be 4 single crochets, 1 bobble stitch, 4 single crochets, 1 bobble stitch and 3 single crochets, whereas rows number 10, 12, 14, 16, 18 and 20 are gonna be a rows of single crochet in every stitch. So go ahead, do that, and I'm gonna meet you when we are due to do row number 21. Okay, at the end of row number 20, this is how my work looks, and my letter D is almost coming to life. For row number 21, chain 1 and turn your work, and we're gonna start with 4 single crochets. 2, 3 and 4, followed by a bobble stitch, and then we need to do 3 single crochets, a bobble stitch again, and end this row with 4 single crochets. That was row number 21. For row number 22, chain 1, turn your work, and a single crochet in every stitch. For row number 23, chain 1, turn your work, start with 2 single crochets, do a bobble stitch next, single crochet in the next stitch, and we need 2 more pairs of bobble stitch and single crochet on this row to make it a total of 3 bobble stitches on this row. That's my second pair, and I need 1 more pair of bobble stitch and single crochet. After that, you're gonna be left with 5 single crochets on this row, so end row number 23 with 5 single crochets. Row number 24, would be a row of single crochets in every stitch, so go ahead and do that. And then I need 2 more rows of single crochets, which would be your row number 25 and 26, which is just gonna be a single crochet in every stitch. So do row number 25 and 26, and that's gonna complete my alphabet D. At the end of row number 26, my alphabet D is ready to go, and now I have to do the borders just like I did for rest of the alphabets. If you want a refresher for the borders, go check out my first video at the start of this series. The link will be here in the video somewhere. I'm gonna do the same thing for D as well and show you how it looks in just a minute. Here's how all decked up my alphabet D looks once my borders are done, and you just need to keep in mind that we need to have the same number of stitches for every block. So the borders for every block would have 13 stitches on the top and 13 stitches on the bottom, and on both of these sides you need to have 25 stitches. This is important because we are going to stitch in all the blocks together in the end, and if you have unequal number of stitches, then your blocks are not gonna align together perfectly. So that was about D. So one more down. Let's start with the pattern for E. So for E again, like every other block, you're gonna start with a slip knot and 14 chain stitches. So let's do a slip knot and 14 chain stitches. And by now you would have predicted what's gonna be for row number 2, 3 and 4. It's gonna be a row of single crochets. So go ahead and do rows number 2, 3 and 4 for the alphabet E, which will be a single crochet row in every stitch. So on row number 2, 3 and 4 you would have got 13 single crochets each. Now for row number 5, chain 1 and turn your work. We're gonna start with 2 single crochets here, and on row number 5 we need 4 pairs of a bobble stitch and a single crochet. So after the 2 single crochets, do a bobble stitch. Single crochet after the bobble stitch, and we're gonna make 3 more pairs of bobble stitch and single crochet. That's the second pair. That's the third, and I need 1 more pair of bobble stitch and single crochet on this row. There you go, and then you're gonna be left with 3 single crochets to end row number 5. Chain 1 and do row number 6, which is gonna be a row of single crochets in every stitch. For row number 7, chain 1, turn your work and start with 4 single crochets. Followed by a bobble stitch, and followed by 3 single crochets. One bobble stitch, and end this row with 4 single crochets. That was row number 7. For row number 8, chain 1, turn your work, and you know what to do. It's just a row of single crochets in every stitch. Alright, for row number 9, chain 1, turn your work and start with 4 single crochets. Do a bobble stitch in the next stitch. And end this row with 8 single crochets. Chain 1, turn your work and do row number 10, which is gonna be a row of single crochets. After row number 10, you need to repeat rows number 9 and 10 two more times, which means you need to do row number 9, 11 and 13 as 4 single crochet, 1 bobble stitch and 8 single crochets, and rows number 10, 12 and 14 as a row of single crochet in every stitch. So repeat row number 9 and 10 two more times, and that's going to take you to row number 14. I'm going to show you how to do row number 15 onwards. For row number 15, chain 1, turn your work and start with 4 single crochets. And then we need a bobble stitch. Followed by 1 single crochet and another bobble stitch. And rest of the stitches are just gonna be single crochets for this row, so you're gonna do 6 single crochets to end this row. That was row number 15. Row number 16 is just a row of single crochets, as you know it very well. For row number 17, chain 1, turn your work, and you're gonna repeat row number 9 and 10 two more times, which means you're gonna do row number 17 and 19 as 4 single crochets, 1 bobble stitch and 8 single crochets. Rows number 18 and 20 are gonna be a rows of single crochet in every stitch. So do that, and I'll meet you back again when we are due to do row number 21. Okay, row number 20 is done. So for row number 21, chain 1, turn your work, start with 4 single crochets 1 bobble stitch, followed by 3 single crochets, and we need 1 more bobble stitch on this row here. And end the row with 4 single crochets. Chain 1, do row number 22, which will be just single crochets in every stitch. For row number 23, chain 1, turn your work, start with 2 single crochets. And on this row, just like row number 5, we need 4 pairs of a bobble stitch and a single crochet. So let's start with a bobble stitch. Single crochet. That's the first pair. I need 3 more. Second pair. Third, and I need 1 more. Okay, and you're gonna end this row with 3 single crochets. That was row number 23. Chain 1, turn your work and do a row of single crochet in every stitch for row number 24. After this, we need a couple more rows of single crochets, which is gonna be your row number 25 and 26. So simply do a single crochet in every stitch for rows number 25 and 26. That's the pattern for the alphabet E. Let me go ahead, do the borders and show you how beautiful it looks once it is all done and cleaned up. Alright, that's how beautiful and cute my alphabet E block looks after I've done all of the borders, and I think we should stop here for today. Thanks a lot for spending your precious time with me, and hope you liked the patterns for D and E that I showed you today. I'll be back soon with the next parts of this Afghan. Till then, stay safe, take care and happy crocheting.